welcome.
Welcome to everyone. I know that are some people here that only talks in English, so I think it's better to do this session in English. Okay. Okay. Welcome to our 8th community meetup. Today we have great stuff to share with you. Mainly the retrospectives. I love the way that Inês do the retrospectives. And this will be business as usual. We have a talk. We have some information regarding the regional Scrum gathering that will be in the 1st of December, and then we will have 15 minutes of network coffee break, and at the end we will have open space as usual. Okay. So, Rafael, do you have something prepared for us, or
just to say
what words?
Okay.
What beautiful.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Inês. Okay. Just to say a few words about the regional Scrum gathering. The people. Okay. The people that signed for today are entitled to a discount. All of you. The people that show up today are entitled for additional discount. The discount codes will be sent between today's evening and tomorrow.
Don't forget today's evening.
No.
We'll go for a dinner, exactly. And then afterwards drink
tomorrow. Okay. And that's it. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
A lot of stuff. Okay, now. Retrospectives as an Agile foundation. Inês, it's your turn.
Thanks. Hello all. So, part of the people that are here already know me and already work with me, so it's really weird to present next slide, but I will do it for the few that don't know me. So, I was in Faculdade de Engenharia here nearby. I had the degree on electronics and engineering. I worked 6 years in Siemens in software. So I started as a developer and did test case written, specifications, then moved to system engineering, and then project manager. It was there in 2004 that I knew Agile. So we started with daily stand-ups in 2004. It's funny to look back and see how we did daily stand-ups there at that time. So it took kind of 30 or 45 minutes. You were not. Pedro is laughing because he was there. He was on my team. So, but it's funny. So then I moved to Quimonda, where I worked 2 years as a project manager. It was nice to understand the manufacturing side of the thing, although I was still working in the software factory, but for manufacturing. And then I was 6 years in Primavera, and there I started working on Agile for real. So I started in one team, trying some Agile practices, and then we decided to kind of do a revolution on all the software department and reorganize all the teams and define all the processes following Agile methodologies. So, and I'm now at Farfetch as an Agile coach since the beginning of this year. I coach teams of 2 clusters, the mobile one and also the core cluster. And that's it. This is also me, myself and I, so Manuel, Elisa. They are not here only because they are great kids but there's a mystery related to retrospectives on them in the next slide. And now, another person but more serious. I will give you some time to read this sentence. It is not enough to do your best. You must know what to do and then do your best. William Edward Deming was an eminent teacher in American Academy for more than half a century. He published hundreds of original papers and studied and talked about things like system thinking, human psychology. He did a great job in several companies with governments and mainly in Japan after Second World War and also in USA in the automotive manufacturing. He's a lot known by the PDCA cycle, also known as the Deming cycle or the Deming wheel. He heard about it. He's not the creator of this, although it has its name. He heard about it with his mentor, Walter Stewart, in the Bell Institute in New York when they worked together. But he used it so many times that it took his name. So the PDCA cycle is a continuous quality improvement system. I suppose that you all know it, yes? Yay. Thank you. So continuous improvement, learning, knowledge, and improve the quality of the product or the process. So running fast for it. So it has 4 phases. The plan phase is where we identify the goal or the purpose, we formulate a theory, and then we define success metrics. That's an important point that we normally forget when we define or we plan something, defining the success metrics for that we are planning. Then we put the plan into action. So we implement the plan, we do a product, we implement a process, whatever we are working on. And then the third step is the check, the study step. And here we have to monitor what we are testing and check it against that metrics that we defined earlier. If we are having good results or not, checking the signs of success and areas of improvement. And that's for using on the next step, the act, where we integrate what we learned and put the actions into place. So, quite simple, isn't it? You already know. And the question here is, so we repeat these 4 steps over and over again. So we then decide the actions, plan them, put them into actions, and so on and so on. And the idea is to have continuous improvement. And the question here, what does this has to do with Scrum or Scrum retrospectives? It's funny to look at this Scrum sprint cycle. Some years ago, when I started with Agile and Scrum in Primavera, I thought that Scrum was this, right? A set of sprints with specific ceremonies. And then I learned a lot, not only from the things I read, but a lot with the teams that I worked on. And then Scrum for me transformed into this 3 pillars. What are the Scrum pillars? Transparency, inspect, and adapt. That's the essence of Scrum. That's not the cycle. The cycle is only one way to do it. The transparency and inspect and adapt. So we can see this also on the Deming cycle. The inspect and adapt. The check and act. So we can look again to the Scrum cycle and look at it with another eyes and see it as a PDCA cycle, a Deming cycle. So we have a planning phase, on the sprint planning, and then we do the sprint, we execute the plan. We have on the daily Scrum a nice cycle where we check, act, and plan again. I normally say that the daily stand-up meeting is a micro sprint planning every day, where we check how we are, where do we want to go, and we decide the actions to go for it. And then on the sprint review, once again, check and act on the product. Check the product. Are we going on the right track? Not. Evaluate the good things, the bad things, and decide on action. And the same thing on the sprint retrospective. Check and act again. So focusing now on the sprint retrospectives, that's why I normally say that I see retrospectives as Agile foundation. Scrum does not work if retrospectives don't work. If we saw that all the Scrum cycle is a cycle of inspect and adapt, on the dailies, on the review, on the retrospective, if a part, and an important part, on the way we are working does not work well, the retrospective, the Scrum does not work. The retrospective is the great opportunity for the team to discover the good things, and I think that when we discuss retrospectives, we tend to talk only about the bad things, the problems, and try to see what are the actions to solve the problems. There's another part that's very important. Let's look at what went well, and let's discuss why. Because sometimes it was not planned to work that way, although it worked well. So we have to check why it worked well and identify the root cause, the positive root cause of things went well, and then do actions so we can replicate again and again these actions that give us some so positive outcome. And it's also a great opportunity for the teams to discover their weakness and learning from their mistakes and evaluate how can they change. The 12th principle of the Agile Manifesto says that team reflects on how to become more effective on each sprint. So if we really believe on the Scrum pillars, on the Scrum values, on the Agile values, Agile principles, we have to follow it. It doesn't say how you do it. It says you should do it every time. So, and the retro functions also as a closure point, because if you are not done with something, you cannot start a new thing, so a new sprint, when you don't close the things on the sprint before. You have to discuss it and then close it and start a new life on the new sprint. So how can you do it? We should place the retrospectives in the main stage. This is in Braga. If you don't know it, you should go there. It's a beautiful room. So, and how can we put the retrospectives in the main stage? We have to work on the culture. And that's why those two beautiful kids were there, because I'm working on their culture. I do retrospectives with my kids daily, and people laugh, saying, oh, leave the work in work, go home and just don't talk about it anymore. But I talk with them, and I ask questions, and I do games. Why? Because they have to learn to talk. They have to learn to share their feelings. They have to learn to evaluate their day and see what went well, what can I improve for tomorrow. This is a cultural problem, the retrospectives. Normally, and I can give you an example, on Friday, my little one was sick, so I have to leave at 3 o'clock. I had 2 retrospectives still, one at 3 and one at 4, because our sprint closed on Friday. And I said, hey guys, I have to go, my kid's sick, so go ahead with the retro. You don't need me to know what to do. And there was someone that I said, okay, so we don't do it today. That's a cultural problem that I have to work. That's my job as Agile coach, to try to solve that. This to say to you that my life is not all flowers and beautiful music. There was another team that said, okay, no problem, we know how to do it. And they just did it. So that, I was happy because I did my job. So we have to work on people, and that's so linking to the Scrum gathering on the 1st of December. There's some talks on Scrum or Agile in education. That's a great thing, because we have to educate people's minds to talk about things. And there's no problem talking about problematic things. We are not talking about people. We are talking about things that don't work. And we are willing to change that and have more fun, have more quality, deliver more products. So we have to work on people culture from the beginning. That's why I do retrospectives with my kids today. So now, focusing again, how can we place these retrospectives on the main stage? There's no use for the retrospective if people don't want to be there. They have to understand why they are there. They must be willing to be there, to evaluate what happened, and they must be willing to check how went the sprint, what did we do good, what did we do bad, what do we have to change, how can we change this? It will not be the Agile coach that will say to the team what they have to change. I had someone that told me some time ago, you don't talk in the retrospective. And I said, no, that's not my job. My job here is to make this room a safe environment and work with you individually to prepare you for this session. And you know better than me what must be changed. You are the ones that are there with your hands. I'm just here talking with you. So we have to, Agile coach, to be able to put people completely comfortable and open to talk about the things that happen with no problems, that we are not there for pointing fingers to people. We are just evaluating how we work and how we can do better to have more products, more quality, and more fun too. And we can apply different feedback techniques for this. What I'm presenting you now is a retrospective structure, a popular one. If you read already Agile Retrospectives by Esther Derby and Diana Larson, they divide the retrospective in 5 structures. Set stage, gather data, generate insights, decide what to do, and close the retrospective. What I do, near each sprint ends, I pick a clean notebook page and I write the 5 stages, and I write it again and again in every sprint of every team. Because for me it's very important to also try to follow the structure. Even though I made a plan and normally I have to adapt during the retrospective, but that's part of the inspect and adapt that we do daily. So for setting the stage, this part of the retro, the introduction, is to help people focus on what they are doing. It includes normally the welcome, the restate purpose of the retro. I write this every time. So we have now 1 hour to inspect and adapt on the way we've been working on this sprint. So we set a purpose, we remember the time frame that we have, and then I do normally an exercise. For what? Not only to break the ice, but also to put the mood of the team on the same level. So I do one word, like, give me one word, how do you feel? In one word, what do you want for this retrospective? In one word, what do you think about the sprint that just ended? And then we can have the weather report and the temperature reading. And this way, everyone in the team gets to know what is in the mind of the people that is sitting right on our side. So we are all on the same level. On the second step, the second part, the gathered data, the idea is that we create a shared image of how the sprint went. By sprint, we can say story, we can say project. That depends on the focus of the retrospective. Because I did already retrospectives on projects, so we have to have a shared idea how did the project went, and I did so focus the retros as in focusing on only one story, understanding what do we remember, how do I feel what I remember from this story, and the idea is that we have a shared image of that, and for that everyone shares his part, and then we have a beautiful picture of what happened in the sprint, in the story, or in the project, the timeline that you define. There are lots of exercises for this, so the hot air balloon, where you can check what is our positive things, what is bringing us down, speedboat, problem story, so more focus on emotions, or sprint timeline, or project timeline, or story timeline. You can replace this part of the timeline that you want to focus. And someone was asking me once, how do you choose the exercise that you do in each retrospective? And normally, so we have the sprints that start on Monday, and then on Friday, and normally on Thursday, I set. And I think about the sprint. And that's what I try, the only way that I try to influence the retrospective. Sometimes it does not work well. So I take a look at to the sprint and see what happened in the sprint. Where were the positive things from my point of view? What are the things that maybe the team wants to discuss? And that's the only way that I try to influence the retrospective, is on the exercise that I present to the team. And for instance, if the team has a very emotional sprint, they really have to share kind of cycle coach. I do a problem solving, for instance. So it really depends on the sprint, on the team, on the context that we have. The next step is generating sites. So it's about coming to solutions on how to deal with all the data that we have, all the problems that we gather, all the positive things that we gather. So looking for solutions. And here you may need to go deeper. We have exercises here, and it depends on the team, on the topic. If you need to do the force field analysis, 5 whys or fishbone, then you have to choose. That's the thing that you have to inspect and adapt. That depends completely on the second step, on the gather data. That depends on what you gather there, the exercise that you will do or don't on the next step. On the decide what to do, here is try to focus, and normally teams get more than one action that they want to try on the next sprint, and here is try to filtering and have at least one. Normally they had a retro on Friday, and they said we had 3 actions, and I said we just need one, because if we have too many actions, normally we don't do anything. It's overwhelming. It's more important to have only one action, and to place it on the board as a story, or place it on an improvement board near your whiteboard, or use techniques like popcorn flow that we learn on the Agile PT from Claudio Perrone, and use this to have your actions from the retrospectives clearly by the side of your team, and look at them daily, on the daily stand-up. Also, as you look at stories, you should also look at the actions that you you rate on the retrospective and check if we are really doing the action, if we are putting the action in place. How is this action? Exactly the same way how we are doing with the stories. To close the retrospective, here the idea is to do a kind of retrospective on retrospective. I normally use this for me. So I ask people how they feel. We have a retro dart, that's a dart, and then they have to put their votes. Takeaways, it's a great exercise to ask the people what is the most remarkable thing that you take from this retrospective. That will make you think about what you heard, what we discussed from the past minutes, and what did I learn, what is the important thing that I take from with me from here. Or one word before leaving, and it's exactly the same as the one word on the set the stage is, how do you feel now? What is the important thing that you learn? The idea here again is work on communication. On the set the stage, on the close retrospective, the idea is to make the team communicate, to share their feelings, share their thoughts, so people are all on the same page. To close, so Agile retrospective is a powerful tool. It's very useful for any team that likes and is willing to improve. This is an important part, and this is normally the hard part for the coach or the Scrum Master, is that we have to be able to shift the mindset of people, because normally we are not used to stop and think about how we did. And if we are willing to stop and take a look, and not to think that we are wasting time, I could be coding while I'm here in this room, close, 2 more features that I'm not going to deliver today, and just think about the first sentence of Demi. You have to know what to do and then do it better. It's like a marathon. You can start running and be a great runner, but if the finish line is for there and you are running for there, you are just running. You will not achieve your goal. So we have to think that retrospectives is a way to increase efficiency and adopt this model of continuous improvement, and that's the only way that we can be effective and can deliver more and with more quality and have more happy and pleased customers.
So now we have time for a couple of questions, 10 minutes more or less. It depends, of course. If we don't have any question, which is strange.
Now
Not
you are
really.
putting pressure on
Yes.
them.
Yeah, also. Ok. Questões, nem pode ser em português, se tiverem.
We can
opção.
translate.
How do you monitor the actions out? In the next retrospective?
One thing is that you place the actions, you should place the actions on your board and try to take a look at the action daily, on the daily stand-up. And on the next retrospective, you should have some time to evaluate the actions. So to have, to check if the action was put in place or not, what were the outcomes, were they okay or not, and decide if you should continue to do it or we should stop and change and choose another solution.
And really it's not that easy to complete the action. I think.
Depends. That's why you should choose only one. And you should choose actions within the team. That's another difficulty normally, is when teams are willing, okay, to discuss the problems and so on, they only find problems outside the team.
Yeah, it happens very often.
That's it. That's it. And
after we
that's the
go
second
out,
step.
give
We
our action and
have to be willing to change, but our behavior, not the other ones. The other ones, it's easy to say, oh no, just go, we're left. We have to change our behaviors.
More questions?
The main issue I believe that we face is not from the retrospective itself, but is the culture, the mindset of the team. Our best practice is to make the team aware of that mindset change and introspect on the team and make them believe and be aware of the goals and objectives of the retrospective. And
That's a question?
And it's really
Tips. That's not an easy job. What I've been seeing on the last year is that we Scrum Masters and Agile coaches need time. We need time because this is a battlefield where we gain one people at a time. And we have to have time to talk with the people, to explain the things that we believe. We must bring them to the Scrum gatherings, Scrum meetups. We have to share our books with them. One thing that I do often is to share articles by mail to the team. For instance, on the retro I didn't work especially on, but on the daily stand-up meetings, I found an article that was great on daily stand-up meetings, and I did a shared reading on the article. So just pick up your team and read the article out loud. I was not the one that I read, so people were reading the article and discuss it. And then people will share what they think about it, and share if they want to change something, they want to try something new. It's not, you don't have a magic formula. It takes a lot of time. It depends on people willing to follow it. For me, an important thing is to be very open and share my belief. I normally do the Jesus Christ metaphor that people love, is that
what you preach.
that's it. I normally try to be kind of Jesus Christ, explaining the things to the 12, and they believe it without seeing it. But then they try it, and it works. So I have a new one that can go and spread the word. One by one. That's it.
But the base here is, the base of everything is people. And we need time to speak, to understand, to read, to introspect. And mostly we don't have that time. The teams wants to code everything, wants to do the job. And this kind of stuff is for that crazy guys that are there.
Those are Agile coaches.
Yeah. They need time to think.
Yeah, you just touched a sensitive point. The team isn't willing to give their time.
Yeah.
No. You have to grab one and try to convert him.
Yeah.
And then you are two. That's it. But I have to share with you something that may seem hard, but I share it already on a Lean Coffee, is that there are people that do not fit this culture. There are people that do not fit this culture. We, Agile coaches, and the rest of the team, because we are all willing to change, we are trying things, but we need to know where to stop, because there are people that are not willing to work this way. We need to communicate a lot. We need to be completely transparent. We need a lot of courage to present our weaknesses and ask for help. And once again, our Portuguese culture is not this way. So the Scrum values are courage, openness, trust, and so on. People are not used to say on a daily, I thought I could do this, but I can't. Can someone help me? You have to trust the people that are there. You have to know what you know, and to know what you don't know, and be okay with that. And that's okay, because I know this part, the guy beside me knows this part, we share our weakness, and then we are stronger because we learn with each other. That's what we have to do. Try to work on this culture thing, but have in mind that there are people that don't want to work like this. And then we have to stop, because then there's an unhappy team and an unhappy person, and the idea here is that we are all happier.
And how do you control the discussion during the retrospective? Because it's just 1 hour and no one is there. Are the people coming prepared? Are you asking people to prepare before, for example, or how do they start the retrospective?
I think that that's all about time and doing it over and over again. For instance, at first retrospectives on a new team, people don't talk normally. So 1 hour is too many times.
We have so many meetings. Another one.
Another meeting, 1 hour. We don't have nothing to say there. Then you start spreading the word on the Agile thing, and they start talking. And then normally 1 hour is not enough. That's the second step. It's a good one. But then you have the third one. People get used to the rhythm. That's the good thing also in Scrum. It's the rhythm. Pace. That's it. Thank you. So you have the sprint always with the same duration. You know that you have a planning on Monday. On the next Wednesday or Thursday, there's always a refinement. At 9:15, there's always a daily, and you have a review or not. But under retrospective, by the end of the sprint, the pace is very important. And people, after a few retrospectives, they get used to the pace of the retrospective, to do it in 1 hour. But if after a few retrospectives 1 hour is not enough, you should increase the time. Because for a 2 weeks sprint, I think that's advised is 1 hour and a half retrospective. But then again, you have to inspect and adapt. It's more important to follow the book than follow the book. So if 45 minutes is okay for you, or if you need 2 hours, you have to.
It depends on the team,
That's
the guys that are in there.
You have to choose the thing that works for you.
What do you ask people before retrospective to think about?
No, normally not.
But there
I
are
don't,
techniques-
but that
there are
depends.
techniques that
that
you
you
do.
For example, and like this, if it's 5 minutes.
But once again, you have the pace. People know they have the retrospectives. For the first, that's a new thing, but the second one, you know what we are there for. And then there are different techniques. I know people that use Post-its or their notebook to take notes during the sprint, so they remember the things, because 2 weeks is too long.
Sorry, there's also a black box that with a black box that you use to put
Near
things
the
to
team,
talk about in
and you
the
will
during sprint,
put that
talk about the retro. Sorry.
No, great. That's it. We have different techniques, and that's the great one. To have box there near the team. When you have something that you want to discuss on the retro, just place there.
You
And
can
then-
also send a survey, for instance, with some
That's it.
questions to collect from every element of the team.
I normally do ask that people prepare when we do, for instance, a project retrospective, where we are retrospective 3 months or 2 months or 4 months. That's too long, so we need some time to think about it. So we have time on the retrospective.
So,
The techniques to get the data. Use all these different techniques.
Yes. I already repeat some, but that really depends, because I normally prepare the retro by the sprint end. I have to think how did the sprint, how is the team, and then try something that fits. You have a lot of you have funretrospectives.com, you have make a cupcake, something cupcake. I can share with you in a post. Tastycupcake.com. You have the Agile retrospective book, so you have a lot of techniques available, and you can be creative and create your own, like we are trying to. We are inspecting under that. How are doing a PDCA cycle on a new retrospective? Then we can share with you.
That are based in values, for instance.
That's it.
Okay. One last question. Mike.
Great talk. You talked about something very interesting. The Agile coach should make the retrospective a safe place for the team, or else they will not talk. That's obvious. But then you have two things to balance. One, make things visible, which would mean let's show our retrospective to everyone, but that may become the retrospective unsafe place for people to talk. Do you use all the time the same thing, or depending on the team, you show results, or you keep it private for the team?
I never show the result, not the results, but the things that we discuss on the retro, I never share it. The only thing that I share, because they are on the board, is the actions that come out of the retro. The discussion is only a way of getting to the action, of getting to have a clarification within the team, a common understanding. That's not the important part to share for me.
What I used to do, usually sometimes I ask to the team if they want me to share the things with the others, like in clusters we have several roles that are common to several teams. I usually ask.
Yeah. If there's an action that was related to other team, normally we discuss it with another
and
team.
you usually understand when you can share or not. Depends of the temperature of the talks and
most
discussions.
of the teams that I know, they don't like to share, which is great because it means that they are actually
Personal.
opening themselves in what they're saying. That is great. But I would just like to know one or two teams that do share and try to understand if there's an advantage on that or not.
Usually no one
We
really
can ask the audience, do you share your retrospectives discussion? Do you do retrospectives?
Do you love to do it?
As I do. What do you do with the retrospectives? Do you share the things with your group, company? Do you get the outcomes for your team only?
When I write the result of the retrospective, I have the care to not personate. If one person say he does not that thing very well. I don't put the names. I try to write more ambiguous.
So you have a minute of the retrospective.
I have to be careful. Not very not that.
I need to check here one great image that I shared once with Rafael, but I after the okay, I will search for it.
About the final actions, do you currently add the actions to a backlog?
We are not adding the actions to the backlog. We have whiteboards with the sprint backlog, and we add it only with the post-its. So I'm not adding them to the backlog, but I'm adding them to a place where we look every day and we talk about them normally on the dailies. In one of my teams, we are experimenting the popcorn flow from Cloud.
I can share one thing. In our teams, my teams, I use Trello to do the retrospectives. One part is
It's an action?
It's a team, and then we put the action inside the card, and review to see if it's in progress or done already with that action.
I found.
So,
So,
go ahead.
If you say that you put the action on board in the talk, do you really talk about it every day?
Not every day, normally.
Does it ever become transparent in forms? Like
Yes.
not smoke cigarette?
We normally, by the end of the retrospective, I place the post-its with the actions on the to-do column. And when we are working on it, I put it in progress, and then when it's done, I put it done.
But it doesn't take like ages.
Yes, it takes. Yes, it takes.
we need that.
Yes, we need to work it. We have too many actions. I would like to have only one and really work on it. But we have a great path to work.
Sometimes we struggle that everyone knows that action is important.
No one picks it up. That's it. And that's, I think, our job. Hey, it's here, still what to do. Will someone pick it up? That's it.
So the teams are like this guy, always working. I don't need to improve. I don't need to improve. And probably we can have tools to do things quicker and better and safer. So come on.
Take some minutes to talk about it.
Okay. Mais questões?
Imagine you have a team member that
Difficult questions. I'm smelling it.
very introspective. He doesn't like to talk about his insights. How do you open that person to you?
I had already, yeah, I think all of us, Agile coaches, have experimented that. I think there we have to respect the person a lot, but even though, try to work it. So, or talk to the person individually, explain the importance of the retro and of discussing the things. Normally, there are a kind of developers that is like that. They just love to code, don't bother me, another meeting for nothing. You have to work it, have a lot of patience, and try to explain what is the goal. Because most of them, they are very smart guys. If you explain them what is the goal, what is the outcome of the retro, they will understand it, understand that. And as soon as they understand it, they will participate. And another thing that I saw is that some of these kind of people, they really need a safe place to do it. So you have to repeat it one time and another, that things that we are saying here are not in the room. We are talking about things and process, not people. You have to say it once again and again and again until they really believe it. But there's always the case of someone that will not talk because it doesn't like to talk. I just want to be in my room by myself, coding and coding. And that's a person that will normally don't fit on this. We have to communicate a lot, every day. And if we don't like to talk, it's very difficult for them and for the rest of the team.
What's happening when the outcoming of the retros is always the same actions and a lot of actions? Do you change anything?
You have to try to work with the people. Because people will be thinking things that they are not sharing. And they are just sharing the easy things that will hurt no one. Just, okay, we have to share something, let me just find here the smallest or harmless thing. Okay, share it. Then I share it already. But the important things normally are not discussed.
You said that sometimes you need to stop and see what if the behavior or the action of the people are working. So imagine this scenario, taking the same results
Over and over.
we need to stop and not doing the same way the people or
That's it. Try to change the retro. Try to be transparent. I've been thinking about that and about changing myself and be also more transparent and say, hey guys, this is not working.
never stop.
We are having always the same kind of actions. I'm thinking, I don't know your feeling, but I'm feeling that we are not improving. What am I doing wrong here? How can I help you? How can you help me to do this better? Transparency again.
It can be the case if the action is always the same. Probably the action wasn't done before, or done the right way.
But the question is why?
Is
Why?
and why?
Okay. Any more questions? So, now we have Right. So, now we have a 15 minutes break. Before that, I would like to explain the open space exercise. Today we only have 2 slots of 20 minutes. So what I will ask you is to think about topics that you would like to be discussed. It can be about retrospectives, can be about the Scrum, can be about Agile coaches, product owners, product
Developers.
Lean also is important. And then what we do is we will go outside, do some networking, eat something, and think about the topics we want to discuss. And here we have some post-its, pens. We will write, go to the marketplace, which is this board, and we will put in this matrix the topic that we would like to be discussed, okay? So, think about it, and then we will go to the best part after the great talk of Inês once again. Thank you, Inês, for your time and your talk, okay?